You might think of the Polk County Sheriff as one of those great sheriffs. It's like he stands around a campfire and tells a story with a coffee mug in his hand. However, these three critics are telling a totally different story. And that story is a First Amendment violation, public records violation, and even the most important is animal neglect. It all stems around the animal control facility there. Let's take a listen. So why do you guys like animals so much?
I've always liked animals. My mother was an animal lover. We used to foster, as I grew up. And then when I left my corporate job, I was like, I'm going to do something I want to do, not something I have to do. Yeah. And then I moved into animal welfare.
Animal welfare, okay. And how about you, Vicky? What's your draw to these animals that you guys are brought out to protect and to give them a good life?
To me, it's more like, you mean in Polk County, it's more the injustice of what's happening. And when I read that Best Friends Animal Society had offered Polk County, a county that's wealthy, to become a no-kill shelter, and I read the document that Best Friends pulled away when Grady Judd didn't want to accept it, I thought there is something really happening here that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that's what got me involved.
Got you into this.
Yes.
How about you, Dr. Weed?
Well, when I was in high school, science was my favorite subject, and I thought of medicine as a form of applied science. And I grew up with pets. I showed horses as a kid, and I had a horse that fractured a sesamoid bone. And back in the 70s, from the movie, if you remember the movie, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? That horse would have been euthanized, but there was a surgeon in Paris, Kentucky, who specialized in equine orthopedics and screwed that fractured sesamoid bone back together, and she was able to compete. And to me, that was the coolest thing, and I thought, that's what I want to do. So I went to veterinary school wanting to be an equine orthopedic surgeon, but I had no small animal experience whatsoever. But then when I got in veterinary school, I realized the level of sophistication was so much greater in small animal than it was equine, that I gravitated to that and developed my love of surgery. And after I retired, I missed doing surgery. I'd done spay-neuter for, 2 decades, and I thought when I moved to Florida in 2019 that I'd play golf every day, but it dawned on me that I'd rather spay cats than play golf.
You went back to work?
I did, and I still do.
Now, the reason why all three of you are here is because in Polk County, I've got a photo of a guy that's back here behind me. Looks like a nice man, always does coffee in the morning and cups and sponsors things like that. But I have a feeling that there's a dark secret behind his friendliness back there. And I've been reported about conditions at the jail. And you guys are here not for the conditions of the jail, but for conditions of the animal facilities, right? Now, one question I do have in learning about what you guys do to this, one thing that we love to do is we like to rescue animals, because those are the ones that definitely need something. They're maybe not the prettiest cats, they may not be the thoroughbred or the, what do they call those when they're purebred? Thoroughbreds for horses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they may not be the prettiest animals and stuff like that, but we've got lucky with some of ours, our rescues and things. But I've gone out to our Humane Society, and it's one of those things that it tears at me. It gets me sad. It gets me to the point where I'm like, I want to take them all in. And my wife left here today because she doesn't want to see any videos, because she will go out there and get all of them, build a she shed out back, and we'll have all those animals here, and I'll be busy taking care of those. But at this facility, briefly, you guys have sent me some stuff here. It seems like it's out of control. And first thing is, I'm a First Amendment activist, so this is something that's out of my kind of wheelhouse, except for I have those. But you guys had mentioned when you go into the shelter, you got to provide your identification to walk in there. Is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Even when you don't plan to adopt a pet. So even if you just want to walk the kennels, but yeah.
Now, do you know why they're doing this here? Do they want you, is it for deterrence, or are they trying to find out who's coming in here, or see if you're, oh wow, this is Vicky, I know who she is, Do you know what the reason for this is at all, any of you?
I don't know the exact reason, no. And we can't get an answer as to what the reason is. But if I had to guess, and of course this all happens, when you work undercover and try to hide things, then of course people become more suspicious of what's going on.
Right.
My understanding is that they want a record of who is coming so that yes, they can screen people. We have had advocates who have gone there and been denied access, not allowed in because you created a stink before and they don't want you there. And I also think that it's something that they can then fall back on to say, well, down the road, we saw that Vicky was here on such and such day, and 2 days later, the video popped out. Was Vicky the one who came in with a video camera?
Right, yeah. And so that could be it. Is that about your take on it as well, you think?
So what happened in 2024, Natalie Scott went to Polk County Animal Control, and she saw some cats that were panting. And for cats to be panting, it was July though, so that means they were ready to stroke. Is that right? Very stressed.
Yeah, very stressed. Yeah.
And she recorded videos of cats full of feces, no water, no food, and she posted it on a Facebook page called Helping Cats of Central Florida, and everyone went crazy, and they said, what's going on? So immediately they said, you got to go to the news with this. And we started looking at Google reviews, and you would look at Google reviews and people would say the same thing. And I'm like, why hasn't anyone recorded? Well, when they wanted to interview the sheriff's office, Grady Judd, immediately citizens were barred from bringing phones.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Interesting. Do they have put you through a screening unit, or you walk through, or do they just do honor system?
Like an honor system, yes.
Yeah, they make you go back to your car and put your phone in your car.
Oh, wow.
And your purse. You can't carry anything in with you.
Yeah. And Dr. Weedon, have you had to provide your ID when you go in there, or have you been in?
I've only been, I'm not welcome there.
Really?
There's an organization, you may be familiar with it, the Bissell Pet Foundation. They have a Fix the Future program where they will pay veterinarians to go to shelters and do spay neuter.
Yeah.
And they have tried to get me in out there, and they say no. I'm persona non grata. I mean, I respect Sheriff Judd as a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
I support his stand on an armed citizenry, and I support him as a law enforcement officer. But as the head of animal control, not so much.
And so that's it. Yeah, it's like an oversight. He's focused in on maybe crimes and
things
like this.
He's a control freak.
Okay.
And I say that with no malice aforethought.
Sure,
He's just he is the one in charge of what goes on. He's an avid bird photographer. Mm-hmm. He believes that cats should be removed from the environment by any means necessary because they quote unquote kill birds. What he refuses to recognize is there is substantial peer-reviewed scientific evidence that shows that embracing Trap-Neuter-Return, known as TNVR, is an effective and humane way to reduce the population of community cats in the environment. And he just refuses to accept that peer-reviewed scientific evidence and even consider the possibility that we've been trapping and killing cats for decades.
Without any purpose except for just to eliminate them.
To eliminate them from the environment. And yet we still have the problem. It's not working.
Right.
And so from my perspective, his rather draconian control on access to animal control is just part of the continuum of he wants to control his little, fiefdom.
Yeah, and that's what I see. So in your opinion, and from doing this work and the trapping, neutering, and releasing, letting them live out their full life in their colonies, because we have one here, is probably the best humane way. I mean, it's creatures, we're animals, and we're the only caretakers for animals that when they need that, So is that the best way?
Well, here's the thing. We know that targeted TNVR helps control and ultimately reduce the population of animals in a community.
They'll live as the colony, but won't
Right.
continue to reproduce.
Through old age or whatever, and the colony eventually. There's my good friend and colleague Peter Wolf did a really nice study on the UCF campus here. Over a 28-year period, the colony eventually went away. Using targeted TNVR.
What is, just out of that, a cat can have 7 babies, 8 babies at once? Do you know the...
Typically we see anywhere from 4 to 8 kittens, per cat.
Sure.
And cats can start reproducing as young as 4 months of age.
So you could have that mass populace explode.
It's exponential.
Exponential, yeah.
And we have that in Polk County because we have let this go for so long with ineffectual means of trying to control it by trap and kill. We have such a ridiculous amount of outside cats. They are everywhere. Every mall, every fast food restaurant, every dumpster, everywhere throughout Polk County. And we just continue. I just got the statistics from September and October, and they killed 520 cats in 2 months.
Just cats.
2 months.
And then what?
They took in 1,357 cats in 2 months.
Right.
And so people are bringing these cats there unaware
That this
is what's
kill
going to happen
shelter.
to them, right?
The highest kill shelter.
And, I run the Street Cat Project. We're a TNVR group. We work with Dr. Weedon and several other places to spay and neuter, trap and spay, neuter, and return these cats. They've taken us to court 3 times because we're releasing cats back out that do not have a rabies tag. And to get your Polk rabies tag, you have to have a yearly rabies shot. All 3 judges have found in favor of us.
Great.
And said, you're doing a community service, continue what you're doing. But the sheriff seems to think that killing these cats is going to save his birds and wildlife, but we're not getting anywhere.
You're
They're
not
not
seeing it. They're still killing 500
they're
cats.
still
More
killing
important.
500 cats in 2 months, and that's only 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's 3,000 cats for the year if we multiply that out. So it isn't working. And we have other solutions.
Yeah.
Let's try something new.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
In 2012, Hillsborough County embraced TNVR and modified their animal ordinance to be more feral cat friendly. And what that has done is affected their live outcome rate. In 2013, their live outcome rate was 51%. Once they embraced TNVR, it jumped to 82% in 2016, and in 2023, their live outcome rate was 92%.
And this is their own government numbers?
This
Yes.
is the
Yes.
numbers from the state of Florida that shelters are required to provide on an annual basis.
Right.
And the statewide average is 83%. Hillsborough County is 92%. That's 9 percentage points above the statewide average.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whereas Polk County it was 37% in 2013. In 2019, they had risen to 55%.
So there's some progress, but not what we're seeing in Polk
Well,
County.
in 2023, it's 65%. Now, that may appear to be progress. However, it's still 18 percentage points below the statewide average.
Right.
Now, what's the difference?
Kill shelter.
Hillsborough embraces trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, so these cats never get into the shelter.
So your
Whereas Polk
intake
County
drops
Right.
because they've never come into the
Right.
shelter.
I see.
And then your live release raises because you're not killing them. So they're not coming in and being killed. We aren't only concerned about TNVR. I mean, Bob and I are very much advocates of TNVR, and Vicky is too. But we're also concerned with other things in Polk that no one will address. There's no tethering laws that are enforceable. Their breeders are running rampant with breeding dogs, mostly, of course.
So it's not just cats.
It's not just cats, and their live release rate for dogs is higher because we have several organizations that rescues that are pulling dogs. Cats breed exponentially more.
Yes.
Cats are hard to catch. You can't just pick them up off the sidewalk like
Catch mine in this house.
And exactly.
They're climbers.
They're climbers.
They fit in any hole.
They're elusive. They're out at nighttime. We've asked the commissioners through our meetings and things to address some of the other issues. If we're at a sticking point on the TNVR, okay, let's hold that aside and move on to some other issues.
Right.
And we still get no response, none at all.
There's a statute which is 82315 that says it is policy mandate of the state to reduce the incidence of birth while reducing euthanasia. Animal control entities are part of this effort. But it's honestly, it sounded like they read it backwards.
It's through whatever means possible to lessen the birth rate and the euthanasia rate.
So the birth rate correlates to the euthanasia rate because you're eliminating that feralness and that overpopulation. And Dr. Weedon, what does it take how long is a surgery for a TNR or for a neuter or spade?
Well, it depends on the surgeon's training. The average private practitioner takes about 45 minutes to spay a cat. Okay. A high-quality, high-volume spay-neuter surgeon takes anywhere from, say, 6 to 10 minutes.
That's it.
Wow. So you can do, if you're trained in high-quality, high-volume spay-neuter techniques, you could do sterilize or spay, and neuters are much quicker.
Right.
It takes me 35 seconds to neuter a male cat. But spaying a female cat, because you're going into the abdomen, takes a little bit longer. But if you can do one in 6 to 10 minutes, that means you can do anywhere from 6 to 10 an hour, whereas the standard private practitioner that takes 45 minutes, it makes a much larger incision. You can do one, maybe two an hour. So most TNVR programs employ high-quality, high-volume spay-neuter surgeons. Sure. And we'll do 20 to 30 cats in a day. And if you have a large-scale clinic where you have 2 or 3 surgeons operating, you could sterilize easily 100 feral cats in a day's time.
And then once you do that, the survival rate, I think, in those, do they have to heal inside, or are they pretty much ready to go?
Pretty much ready to go. Most TNVR programs will hold them overnight and ensure that they're pretty much back to normal.
Right.
And able to, the big thing is you want to be sure they're able to ambulate, to get around. Right. You want to be sure that there is no potential detriment to their defensive mechanisms. But again, usually within 24 hours, some of these smaller kittens that we do, the 2-3 pound kittens, 10 minutes after surgery, they're up and awake and eating.
I think ours was that way. We had to hold our cats for a couple of days because they wanted to run around and jump around after they were out of their groggy stage. But what does it cost that the county would to do to a cat? Do you know approximately?
Cheaper than euthanasia.
Yeah.
And he has the statistics, and there's statistics, right? Go ahead, explain.
Hillsborough County has reported that it costs them over $100. I don't remember specifically. I want to say it was
158.
Something like that, yeah. To trap a cat, transport it to the shelter, hold it for the requisite 7-day hold period,
right,
and then euthanize it. Whereas
and dispose of it too.
Yeah,
And dispose of it.
Although evidently Polk County gets a rebate on that because they sell the cat carcasses to a biological supply house for $10 a piece, so they get a little bit of a rebate.
We have records on that. I know, and they sell about 1,100.
According to Hillsborough County, it costs them somewhere around $60.
Yeah, it was like $60
to sterilize a feral cat. So do the math. Yeah. It's $100 savings to the county by sterilizing and returning, as opposed to trapping and euthanizing. And if you multiply that over however many cats have been killed at Polk County Animal Control over the last year, that $100, multiply that by what, 2,500 cats?
It's about 3,000 a year.
It took 83 days to get the budget from Polk County, and we still didn't get it complete.
After
the
a
budget,
public records request took you 83 days?
83 days. And on the 60th day, I was done asking them, and I started copying commissioners, state attorney, governor, and finally I got a response. Now,
Wow.
and the interesting part is I requested the same identical thing from Orange County, Hillsborough, and Polk County.
3 days.
Within a few days, they have responded. So Orange and Hillsborough had responded. We got your records. We're working on them. Polk County, and I was asking the same thing. It wasn't like I was asking Polk County a lot of things.
Yeah.
Finally, when we got it, you should have seen the budget in Orange County has, I don't know, 100 line item. The budget for Polk County has like 12 items.
Wow.
And doesn't talk about profits.
No detail on
So,
it.
so the itemizing of it was just secret. Now,
It's office supplies with food. It was like I thought this is a budget made by a teenager, and they charged me $331 for 30 records.
I was just about to ask you that. If you've ever gotten a high charge for public records requests from these agencies, you can bet that they don't want you to have the records.
Right.
Oh yeah.
If
They're hoping you're not going to pay.
Yeah.
Well, and this is an important topic, but I want to finish up our last thought. If you take those 3,000 cats and multiply that by $100 a cat, that's $300,000 savings to the county every year. And Hillsborough, they have records I've got records that document that savings.
But if you, in my opinion, if you don't want to do that and you want to just eradicate the cats because you don't like them, you'll take the kill route. That's what I would think.
That's what they've been doing.
That's what they've been doing.
In 2024, Polk County killed 6,273. Either they were killed, or they died under their care, or they escaped. 6,273.
That's close to her 500 in 2 months.
Correct.
So that still hasn't changed, and that's
Correct.
still continuing on.
And this is where it gets even more shocking. The second, let's say, highest kill shelter in Florida is Miami-Dade. But think about this. Miami-Dade is 3.5 times more populated than Polk County. And their non-live outcome is 2,505. How do you explain that a county with, let's say, 900,000 people versus a county of almost 2.8 million people
Yeah, the numbers are off.
are way off? There's something really, and part of it is the lack of ordinances. Part of it is the secrecy, because as we were talking at First Amendment, as you were mentioning First Amendment in 2025, this is very important because former Polk County Animal Control officer came forward to the news with allegations and video of dogs' food full of cockroaches, talking about the death rate inside there, what really happened. Well, what did Polk County Animal Control do?
Let me guess. Did they charge him with something?
He
criminal
came
charges?
undercover, so
Good.
they don't know who he was.
They don't know who he is.
Good.
They don't know who he was.
what
No
did
one
they do?
knows. Well, what did they do? They put it in writing, as you see. Look at your policy. This is
policy.
what they did. What did they do? They moved a fence. They privatized the shelter.
Yeah, that's when the bans all started with phones and people being escorted in. You can't just go there and say, well, I'd like to look at the animals. And they say, okay, the kennel's that way, head that way. No, you have to sign in. You have to give them your license. You have to have an escort.
Oh, they walk around with you.
Walks with you so that you don't do anything that you're
So
not
you don't take
supposed
a
to do.
camera, record
That's
it.
right. They moved the fencing. So the fence was, maybe 20 feet back and you would get into the kennel area. They moved that fencing 20 feet forward, right next to the office door, so you can't go anywhere near the kennel. And they also put up a big giant sign that said "bad dogs."
Why do you think that? Why do you think this guy won't take any action on this? Is there, besides what we talked about with him being a bird photographer, is there any other reasons why the people?
The overarching question, Mark, is why won't the county commissioners take any action? They're beholden to this guy. On June 3rd, we went and we presented And who was it? Braswell
Braswell.
said, "Oh, you're talking to the wrong guy. This is Grady's
Yeah.
problem. You need to talk to him."
He runs the county.
Respectfully,
That's what he said.
I
Some of his
disagree. I mean,
Do they play the card of we can't get into the day-to-day operations? Is that what they're doing?
We're not going to help you. This is the sheriff's deal. And the 5 constitutionals are not under our purview. We don't dictate their budgets. We don't have oversight over what they do things.
So this is the same problem that everybody ran into. We're running into it here when they brought up Amendment 10. So he's a constitutional sheriff. He has no one to answer to except for himself. Is that what you...
but I contend that according to the Polk County Charter, it states, quote, adopt such ordinances as may be necessary to carry out both county and municipal powers and purposes, unquote. That is the job of the Board of County Commissioners. They could very easily adopt an amended animal ordinance that embraces TNVR, that has a tethering prohibition and maybe
Right.
some sort of breeder registry. They could very easily do that. The question is, we've presented to them 3 times. No questions, no discussion,
comments.
no action.
They
So-
sit there like
But-
statues.
So they can do this, and they don't, which means to me they're complicit in this animal abuse that's going on.
But wait, it gets even better because on September 2nd, the chairman of the board says, until the sheriff or the sheriff office tells us that new ordinances are needed or that changes needed, this board will not take action. So on one hand, they say, we can control the sheriff, he's a constitutional.
But he has to tell them.
But then on the other, they're saying, we're the legislative board, but the executive can tell us how to legislate?
It doesn't make any sense. It's just they're passing it around just like every agency does.
And you ask why do we think Grady won't do anything? I think there's a lot of reasons, but I think utmost reason is he will never admit that he cannot handle this. It is like the sad stepchild that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to run a failing animal control facility.
Right.
And so he would rather just hide it in the dark next to the dump, not allow people in, keep the gates closed, and then he can hide what's happening there. Rather than saying, okay, I'm busy with ICE and sheriffy kind of duties, I'm going to turn animal control over to the people who want to handle it. You guys handle it, go for it.
Maybe like
That's
the
a simple solution.
That would be a loss of control. He
Yeah.
would not then have the meager $5.5 million budget that they give him.
It's $5.5 million for the animal control budget.
Correct, which, like, if you compare Orange County budget, which they almost have the same amount of animals coming into the facility, even though Orange County is like 2 times more
They gotta be-
populated.
I was going to say they got to be larger.
Right, so it's like 15,000 on average. Animals in Orange County come through Orange County Animal Services, 15,000 come through Polk County. The budget in Polk County, they're spending $300 per pet. Orange spends $900 per pet. Miami-Dade spends $1,200 per pet. So what that's telling you is exactly what's happening. They just have pets to get killed.
So you have 5,000 or 6,000 cats killed in a year.
6,200, but
And I'm trying
total
to
cats and
divide-
dogs.
But okay, cats and dogs, and I'm trying to divide maybe 30 employees in this one.
60.
60. Okay,
according
so
to
so
that.
that's not bad. I'm just thinking, where's the money going?
Well, we don't know.
Well, if you look at the budget, at least the limited budget that they sent us,
12 lines.
which
12
12
lines.
lines of entries, out of the $5.5 million, $4.2 million, I believe it was, goes to salaries and benefits.
91% of the budget, yes.
60 divide. I'm not good at math,
Neither am I.
but
But
I can tell you that's a lot of money per person.
A lot of money.
91% of the budget of whatever goes to pay personnel.
Yeah.
So imagine the remaining
According
$1
to
million.
their line items. Their
Well,
line items. We did
That's
not
yes.
create
This
that.
is we have evidence. $1 million goes to what? To feed cat. I mean, only God knows. I mean,
Yeah.
because that's what the budget. Now, in most other counties, when 65%, and this seems pretty standard, goes towards salaries and benefits. The remainder goes towards the pets. So we don't know. I mean, something is really strange here. You're not allowed. I mean, I'm blocked from both Grady's his social media because I was outspoken. So I guess that's a First Amendment issue.
Absolutely.
What are we using the money for?
That's what I'm saying. There's a cash cow here.
Would you be like, well, I'll keep hanging on to my $5.5 million that I get every year from the commissioners, and I will put meager amounts into animal control because who cares? We're going to kill them anyway, right? Second thing is he will never admit that this is not his purview. And like, as I've said many, many times on other things that I've attended, I am an animal welfare person. I've worked in sheltering for 25 years. I would never, ever in my life depend or try to attempt to be the sheriff. So why is he, as the sheriff, trying to attempt to be an animal welfare shelter person?
Or not get the right people. I mean, with his popularity, he has like 900,000 followers on Facebook. If he wanted, and if he wanted to ask for commissioners for more money, he could.
He could get $1 from everyone that loves him so much.
Correct.
To make them.
I mean, why isn't he doing it? So the answer, I don't know what it is, because he could. I mean, he does ask for money for donations, so we don't understand what is the motivation. I mean,
Now he also has all his charities that he gets donations for, and people donate money, and he has all his events that he raises funds for.
For animals?
No.
Okay.
None of them. Not one.
There's one right now going on. One came out recently, like donate to animal control.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Dr. Weedon, you were going to bring up a point. I saw it in you.
It would be really nice to follow the lead of Hillsborough County, where they actually they removed animal control from under the purview of the sheriff's office and made it a separate county agency.
Under like the county protection or whatever it would be.
And yeah, it's their facility is called the Pet Resource Center, which is why they're doing so much better with their live outcome rates.
Right.
So all you all want is to follow the lead of something that appears to be working from over in the west coast of Florida there and give it a try, right?
Pretty much every other county, because if you're the number one kill shelter and the number two is 150% difference.
Okay.
I mean, right?
This, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to make a point.
Yeah.
2 years ago, there was a wealthy philanthropist that pledged, what was it,
$20 million.
$20 million to Polk County to build a state-of-the-art shelter, and his only stipulation was that animal control be taken out from under the sheriff's office and made a freestanding agency within the county, similar to Hillsborough County.
Well, where's it at?
Grady vetoed it.
He vetoed it in the respect of the most rude way you can, by no response at all.
If you offered to give me $1 million, 10 million, whatever it would be, I'm going to try to do that. And that's really strange that he would take that away.
This is
and
worse.
not even accept it, because
there were actually two stipulations.
that's the control factor in him, I bet.
Oh yeah, one of those was, as Bob said, it was going to become a freestanding entity.
Okay.
All of the animal control officers would move into that freestanding entity.
Still within the county.
Not under him, not under the sheriff. Because when you have a sheriff that runs things, it's almost as a punitive venture.
Yes.
And so that is where sheltering has changed. It is not a pound. We're not, warehousing animals. This is a community resource that we're trying to get established. So they were going to have the sheriff not involved, and the officers work for the new entity, and they had to implement a Trap-Neuter-Vaccinate-Return program. And those two things, I assume, made Grady say, I'm not even interested.
Yeah, I have to say this because the numbers, the budget, the salaries, the lack of wanting to accept, what would be like 4 years of his budget in a donation to build this, tells me, I haven't looked at the records, but tells me there's something else going on here. And
there's something else.
All I can feel. Well, hopefully this video will bring some awareness to it other than you three. I'm sure there's more than just three of you that are behind the scenes trying to fight for these, the caretakers at the colonies. I just to give you a side story, I have a guy here that was handcuffed and detained because he goes out at 2:30 in the morning. I don't know if this is normal, but goes out late at night and feeds the cats. His colony they take care of. He has about 60 in this colony on a vacant piece of property. I think their ears are snipped, so they're all spayed and neutered. They have that sign. And cops were yelling at him, ready to take him to jail because he's out there at 2 in the morning. He's like, I got bags of animal food. I've got this. I go over here.
What
and
was the charge?
loitering and prowling, being out when you're not supposed to be, which is, we're in America. But these sheriffs, Grandpa back here, doesn't believe that we're in America. And everybody that loves him has some delusional thing because he says, hey, good morning here. I got this. I got my coffee here from Black Mug Coffee, whatever it is like this. Good morning to you. Everybody's like that. More subscribers. I love him. He's the greatest sheriff. But the dark side behind every one of these officials is absolutely brought to light when you guys dig more and more. You'll eventually get it, but it'll cost you money and it'll cost you heartache and headache, and that's the thing. So, but I hope this video really will bring it out. I want to thank you guys for watching. It's a pretty terrible story. We're going to try and look into it. If you do go over to this animal control adoption facility, please see if you can record. They're going to request your ID. They're going to violate your rights. And when we get an opportunity to make it over there, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing.